Before the world speaks to you, you speak to yourself. That is the moment that decides your direction. Long before the marketplace opens, before letters arrive, before demands pull at your attention, there is a small window of time that belongs entirely to you. 10 quiet minutes, unclaimed, untouched, powerful beyond measure. Most men waste it. They rise and immediately surrender their minds to circumstance. They rehearse yesterday's problems. They anticipate today's pressures. They step into the day already reacting, and by noon, they wonder why they feel behind. But there is a habit, simple, deliberate, precise, that can turn those first 10 minutes into the most valuable investment you will ever make. Not exercise, not news, not distraction, command. Picture this. You rise. The room is still. Instead of drifting into thought, you sit upright and place before you a written declaration, your definite chief aim. You read it slowly. You see it finished. You feel gratitude as though it were already accomplished. You repeat it until doubt has no room to enter in 10 minutes. Yet those minutes program the entire day. You have been taught that success is built in long hours. That is true. But long hours without direction scatter your force. It is the morning command that aligns the hours that follow. The subconscious mind does not sleep when you wake. It waits for instruction. If you do not give it orders, it will accept suggestions from fear, memory, and environment. And once it accepts them, it will work tirelessly to make them real. Most men lose their day before breakfast. They do not decide who they will be. They allow circumstance to decide for them. Now imagine the opposite. Imagine beginning each morning with a firm statement. I am the type of person who finishes what he begins. I am organized, I am disciplined, I render service beyond what I am paid for. I move today with purpose. Spoken daily, such sentences cease to be wishes. They become identity, and identity governs behavior. Within weeks, you will notice a difference. Decisions become easier. Temptations weaken. Opportunities appear more clearly, not because luck changed, but because you did. This is the most powerful morning habit. Deliberate autosuggestion combined with definite planning. Not vague hope, not emotional excitement. Clear command. In those 10 minutes, you review your aim. You affirm your belief. You decide your primary action for the day. One action that moves the needle. One step aligned with your greater purpose. That is how fortunes are built. Not in bursts of motivation, but in daily direction. Consider the cost of ignoring this. Another day scattered. Another evening wondering where the time went. Another week consumed by reaction instead of creation. Drift is subtle, but it compounds. 10 minutes may seem insignificant, but repeated 365 times, it becomes over 60 hours of concentrated self-direction. 60 hours spent shaping beliefs, strengthening faith, clarifying purpose. Few men will do it. They will say they are too busy. They will postpone until conditions improve. They will underestimate the power of a quiet ritual, and so their days will continue to control them. But the man who masters his morning masters his momentum. He walks into the world already decided, already aligned, already aware of what matters most. Before others influence him, he has influenced himself That is power. If you will guard those 10 minutes fiercely, if you will treat them as sacred, you will find that your mornings become calmer, your work more focused, your confidence more steady. Not by accident, by law. The day does not shape the man who shapes his morning. And once you experience the compounding force of this habit, you will never again begin a day without command. Before you speak a single word to another human being, before you rise fully into motion, before your attention is claimed by obligation, there exists a narrow space of time that determines the direction of the entire day. Most men pass through it unconsciously. They open their eyes and immediately rehearse yesterday. They remember unfinished tasks. They anticipate pressure. They begin the day already behind, not in fact, but in feeling. And that feeling governs their conduct. The first 2 minutes must be reclaimed, not for haste, not for movement, for mastery. When you awaken, do not rise in disorder. Sit upright deliberately. Place your feet upon the floor with awareness. This physical act, though simple, signals decision. You are not drifting into the day. You are entering it by choice. The body often obeys before the mind fully awakens. Therefore, command the body first. Sit straight. Breathe slowly. Refuse the first anxious thought. The subconscious mind does not wait idly for instruction. It seeks it immediately. If you do not provide it with command, it will accept suggestion from memory, fear, or environment. And once accepted, those suggestions will color every decision that follows. Most men lose their authority before breakfast. They do not decide who they will be. They permit circumstance to decide. In these first 2 minutes, you must establish authorship. Say inwardly with firmness, I command my mind before the world commands me. Do not whisper it casually. Mean it. There is profound power in directing the first thought. When you choose your first thought deliberately, you interrupt the habit of reaction. You assert control over the gateway through which all later thoughts will pass. Reaction is easy. Direction is deliberate. Abraham Lincoln was known for reflective mornings. Before entering the burdens of leadership, he would sit quietly, thinking carefully, measuring his own thoughts before allowing the demands of others to invade. That pause was not weakness. It was preparation. Preparation prevents regret. The man who begins in authority carries calm into confusion. Others may rush. Others may speak hurriedly. But he remains steady because he has already decided his internal posture. You will notice something subtle when you practice this daily. Your voice becomes less strained. Your gestures become measured. Your eyes hold steadiness rather than agitation. Others will not know why. They will only feel that you are not easily disturbed. That feeling is born in the first 2 minutes. Consider how many years have been lost through scattered mornings. 10 years of rising in reaction. 10 years of permitting yesterday's error to shape today's mood. 10 years of beginning without intention. Those years compound quietly. But 2 deliberate minutes repeated 365 times interrupt that pattern. The law is simple. What you rehearse first, you reinforce most. If you rehearse anxiety, anxiety strengthens. If you rehearse authority, authority grows. Sit upright. Take control of breath. Direct the first thought. Let this affirmation anchor you. I command my mind before the world commands me. I begin this day in authority. Speak it before touching any distraction. There will be temptation to reach outward immediately, to letters, to conversation, to noise. Resist it. Those 2 minutes belong to you. They are the gatekeeper of your momentum. Momentum does not begin at noon. It begins in silence. A man who guards his first 2 minutes guards his entire morning. And the morning, governed properly, shapes the day. This is not mysticism, it is law. The mind that begins in reaction continues in reaction. The mind that begins in command continues in command. Within weeks of practicing this, you will feel the difference. You will no longer feel as though the day is happening to you. You will feel as though you are happening to the day. That distinction is the beginning of power. 2 minutes, no applause, no audience, only you and your first thought. Master that moment, and you begin reclaiming years that once slipped away unnoticed. Because the man who begins in authority does not spend the rest of the day recovering from disorder, he advances from decision. And that is how the most valuable 10 minutes begin. Once authority has been reclaimed in the first quiet moments, the mind stands ready. It is alert. It is impressionable. It is waiting for direction. Now you must give it something worthy of obedience. Place before you your written, definite chief aim, not a vague hope, not a mental recollection. A written declaration in clear language stating exactly what you intend to accomplish, by what date, and in return for what service. These next 3 minutes are not for hurried reading, they are for deliberate impressing. Read your aim aloud slowly. Let each word strike your ear. When words are spoken aloud, they carry greater weight upon the subconscious mind. Silent reading is useful. Spoken declaration is commanding. Pause at the definite date. See it. Pause at the definite result. Picture it. Pause at the service you will render. Feel it. Emotion is the fuel of belief. And without emotion, repetition becomes mechanical. With emotion, repetition becomes instruction. Most men who attempt affirmations fail because they repeat without feeling. They rush through sentences as though checking a task. The subconscious mind does not respond to hurried recitation. It responds to conviction. Edwin C. Barnes did not merely hope for partnership with Thomas Edison. He saw himself already associated with him. He rehearsed it inwardly until it became natural in his thinking. By the time opportunity appeared, he behaved as one already prepared. Preparation preceded position. In these 3 minutes, you must behave as though your aim were inevitable. See yourself standing in possession of it. If your aim concerns income, see the ledger balanced. See the evidence of achievement. If it concerns position, see yourself performing the duties confidently. If it concerns mastery, see yourself executing skill with ease. Gratitude strengthens belief. After reading your aim, pause and feel gratitude as though it were already accomplished. Gratitude signals to the subconscious that the result is not distant fantasy, but present certainty. This practice does not deny effort. It prepares effort. The mind moves toward what it believes attainable. It resists what it considers improbable. By emotionalizing your aim daily, you reduce internal resistance. You will notice that decisions throughout the day become simpler. When confronted with choice, you will ask instinctively, does this serve my chief purpose? Because you have impressed that purpose upon your mind before sunrise. Clarity eliminates hesitation. Others will begin to notice this decisiveness. They will see that you do not waver over trivial matters. They will sense that you are guided by something defined. Guidance inspires confidence. Confidence attracts cooperation. These 3 minutes may appear small, yet repeated 365 times, they become over 18 hours of concentrated belief building. 18 hours spent aligning thought with direction. How many years have been lost because belief was weak? How many ambitions faded because they were not reinforced daily? This practice prevents such loss. Let this affirmation accompany your reading. My chief purpose governs this day. I see it. I feel it. I move toward it with certainty. Speak it after completing your declaration. Guard against carelessness. If one morning you rush through the words without attention, you weaken the chain. If you permit distraction to interrupt, you dilute the effect. Protect these 3 minutes as you would protect an appointment with a powerful ally, because in truth, you are meeting with the most powerful ally you possess, your own subconscious mind. When you impress it daily with clear emotional instruction, it begins to filter experience accordingly. It notices opportunity that once escaped attention. It rejects distraction that once seemed harmless. You may interpret these changes as coincidence. They are not. They are the result of daily direction. Within weeks, your bearing will reflect inner alignment. You will speak of your aim without uncertainty. You will act with steadiness rather than impulse. You will decline engagements that do not serve your direction. Others may not know the ritual behind this transformation, but they will feel its effect. The man who begins his day by reviewing his definite purpose does not wander easily. He carries that purpose into conversation, into labor, into decision. And because he does, his progress accelerates. Say your affirmation once more. My chief purpose governs this day. Let those words anchor you. For when the aim governs the morning governs the hours. And the hours properly governed build the life you were meant to live. After you have reclaimed authority and impressed your chief purpose upon your mind, there remains another task before you rise fully into the day. You must decide not only what you seek, but who you are. Desire without identity is fragile. Identity governs conduct more powerfully than ambition. Many men state what they want. Few state who they are becoming. As a result, they attempt to force action from a self-image that contradicts their aim. They desire prosperity, yet secretly see themselves as limited. They desire discipline, yet quietly describe themselves as inconsistent. The subconscious mind obeys identity first. Therefore, in these next 3 minutes, you must declare your character deliberately, not boastfully, not theatrically, firmly. Say aloud sentences that define the type of man you are choosing to be. I am disciplined. I finish what I begin. I render service beyond what I am paid for. I think accurately and act decisively. I persist until results appear. These are not wishes. They are commands directed inward. Repeated daily, such sentences cease to feel artificial. They become expectation. Expectation influences action. Most broken habits are sustained by repeated self-description. A man who says inwardly, I lack consistency, will behave accordingly. A man who says daily, "I am disciplined," begins to experience discomfort when he acts otherwise. That discomfort is ally. It urges correction. The 6 ghosts of fear gain entrance through unattended thought. Fear of poverty whispers that you are not capable. Fear of criticism suggests you should restrain effort. Fear of failure interprets delay as proof of inadequacy. When you declare identity each morning, you weaken these ghosts. Fear cannot dominate a mind that has already decided its character. I witnessed the power of suggestion in the life of my own son. Though born with severe limitation of hearing, he was never allowed to identify himself as deficient. He was told repeatedly that he would find ways to overcome. That identity became belief. That belief influenced effort. Effort produced evidence, and evidence reinforced identity. So it must be with you. In these 3 minutes, you are shaping your internal portrait. Speak with conviction. Speak with clarity. Speak slowly enough that the words settle. Let this affirmation anchor the practice. I am the type of man who honors his word, disciplines his mind, and advances daily. Repeat it until it feels natural. Within weeks, you will notice decisions becoming easier. When temptation arises to postpone the primary task of the day, the identity you declared in the morning will resist. You will ask yourself, is this consistent with the man I have chosen to be? That question alone can save 20 years of repeated compromise. Many men waste decades because their identity remains undefined. They fluctuate between ambition and indulgence. They admire discipline in others, yet excuse weakness in themselves. Defined identity ends fluctuation. Others will perceive the change. They will observe that your tone carries firmness. They will see that you do not retreat easily from commitment. They will sense that you expect more from yourself. Expectation creates standard. Standard shapes reputation. Reputation attracts opportunity. The repetition of identity is not vanity. It is alignment. Without alignment, effort strains. With alignment, effort flows. The man who sees himself as organized organizes instinctively. The man who sees himself as courageous speaks despite discomfort. The man who sees himself as persistent continues when others pause. Speak these declarations daily, even when you feel least convinced. Especially then. Feeling follows repetition. Repetition shapes belief. Belief directs behavior. Do not attempt to declare 20 traits. Select a handful directly connected to your chief purpose. Repeat them faithfully. Guard against mechanical recitation. If you find yourself rushing, slow down. Remember that these minutes are shaping the day's identity. Within a short time, you will detect subtle transformation. You will walk with steadier step. You will respond rather than react. You will decline what once tempted you because it contradicts your chosen self-image. Others will comment upon your composure. They may say you appear more certain. They may notice that you complete tasks more reliably. They are witnessing the effect of morning identity. Say again, I am disciplined. I am purposeful. I persist. Let the word settle. For the man who defines himself before action begins does not wander into conduct by accident. He acts in harmony with his chosen character, and that is how 3 minutes reshape years. You have reclaimed authority. You have impressed your chief aim upon your mind. You have declared the identity that will carry you through the day. One final act remains before you rise fully into motion. You must decide what this day will accomplish. Most men begin the morning with intention, yet without precision. They say they will work on their goal. They say they will make progress. Such phrases are pleasant but powerless. Without definition, the day disperses. In these final 2 minutes, you must select one decisive act that advances your chief purpose measurably. One act, not 10. Not a scattered list of minor tasks. The single action that, if completed today, moves your aim forward in unmistakable fashion. If your purpose concerns income, perhaps it is contacting a definite number of prospects. If it concerns advancement in position, perhaps it is completing a proposal of clear value. If it concerns mastery, perhaps it is studying and applying one specific lesson. Define it clearly. Write it down before you stand. Attach a definite hour to its completion. This transforms desire into execution. Henry Ford did not allow his enterprise to be governed by 1,000 trivialities. He insisted upon identifying the essential task and concentrating force upon it. That habit produced scale. Scale begins with focus. Many men reach evening with exhaustion, yet little advancement because they have been occupied with the urgent rather than the important. They allowed the world to select their task for them. You must reverse this order. Choose your decisive act before the world interrupts. Let this affirmation accompany the choice. Today I execute my primary task without fail. Speak it and mean it. When the hour arrives, you act, not because mood favors it, but because it was determined in clarity. This practice eliminates regret. At day's end, you will not wonder whether progress occurred. You will know. Even if the remainder of the day became crowded with demands, the decisive act was completed. One such act daily compounds. 365 decisive acts equal measurable transformation. How many years have been lost because days passed without one clear advancement? How many ambitions faded because effort was diluted among minor concerns? This final 2-minute command prevents such loss. You may encounter resistance. The decisive act may be uncomfortable. It may require courage, concentration, or discipline. That is precisely why it must be chosen early. When selected in calm reflection, it appears manageable. When postponed until chaos arrives, it appears burdensome. Choosing it early disarms avoidance. Within weeks of practicing this, you will notice a shift. Your confidence will increase, not because every day was easy, but because every day produced advancement. The feeling of progress strengthens self-trust. Self-trust strengthens initiative. Others will begin to treat you differently. They will sense that you do not merely talk of purpose, you execute it. They will notice that you complete what you begin. They will learn that your word carries weight. This reputation forms quietly. No announcement accompanies it, but it spreads. When opportunity seeks a reliable man, your name will arise because you have demonstrated reliability daily. Imagine 5 years of such mornings. 5 years of decisive daily acts aligned with one chief aim at a time. What would remain impossible? You would not need extraordinary luck. You would need only ordinary obedience repeated without interruption. These 2 minutes, insignificant in isolation, prevent 30 years of wasted motion, 30 years lost to reacting instead of directing, 30 years of beginning tasks without completing the essential one. You have now used 10 minutes, 2 to reclaim authority, 3 to impress purpose, 3 to define identity, 2 to select the decisive act, 10 minutes. Yet these minutes shape the remaining 14 hours. Say your affirmation once more. Today I execute my primary task without fail. Carry that certainty into motion. For the man who defines his decisive act before sunrise does not arrive at sunset empty-handed. He arrives accomplished. And when this habit is repeated day after day, year after year, the life you were meant to live ceases to be distant. It becomes daily practice. 10 minutes may appear insignificant to the careless mind. A man will spend more than that in idle conversation, in unfocused thought, in hesitation before beginning his work. Yet 10 minutes, guarded and directed, become the most powerful instrument of self-shaping available to you. The true value of these 10 minutes is not found in a single morning. It is found in repetition. 1 morning of command will steady a day. 30 mornings will steady a month. 365 mornings will reshape a life. Most men never experience this compounding force because they treat mornings casually. They rise differently each day. 1 morning in haste, another in distraction, another in discouragement. Their beginning lacks pattern, and therefore their progress lacks accumulation. The law of habit operates whether you command it or not. Repeated reaction becomes identity. Repeated direction becomes mastery. If you guard these 10 minutes for 1 year, you will invest more than 60 hours in concentrated self-instruction. 60 hours spent impressing your purpose, declaring your character, and defining your decisive act. Few men will ever invest such focused time in shaping their own minds. They will claim they are too busy, yet they will spend years correcting errors born from undirected mornings. This habit saves 10 years by preventing 10 years of scattered beginnings. Consider the man who begins each day without command. He reacts to letters, to requests, to unforeseen demands. By evening, he feels tired but uncertain of what was accomplished. Multiply that pattern by months and then by years. Drift compounds silently. Now consider the man who begins with authority, purpose, identity, and decisive action. Even if interruptions arise, and they will, he has already advanced his chief aim. His day contains 1 act of deliberate progress. Deliberate progress compounds visibly. The law of cosmic habit force teaches that repeated acts harden into habit, and habit becomes destiny. If you repeat these 10 minutes faithfully, they will cease to feel like effort. They will become necessity. You will feel incomplete without them. That is the moment when habit has shifted in your favor. Others will observe the difference long before you announce it. They will notice that you appear less hurried. They will sense that you are not easily disturbed by minor inconveniences. They will hear certainty in your speech because you have already decided the direction of the day. Certainty attracts respect. Respect attracts opportunity. The mastermind alliances you cultivate will strengthen because you approach counsel with clarity rather than confusion. You will contribute more effectively because you know precisely what you seek and what you will do. Confidence earned in silence becomes influence in public. Within a year, you may find that your income has increased, not by miracle, but by consistent, decisive action. You may find that your reputation has improved because you have become dependable. You may find that your internal doubts have weakened because you have rehearsed faith daily. These are not accidents, they are results of morning command. Let this affirmation seal the practice. I begin each day with command, and the day obeys. My mornings shape my destiny. Speak it with conviction. Protect these 10 minutes fiercely. Do not surrender them to trivial interruption. Do not shorten them when you feel rushed. If circumstances threaten them, rise earlier. Adjust your evening. But do not abandon the ritual. For 5 such years, lived with this discipline can accomplish what most men fail to achieve in 20. 10 such years can build a reputation so solid that opportunity seeks you. 30 such years can transform an ordinary life into extraordinary influence. And it all begins before the world speaks to you. 10 minutes, no applause and no audience, only you and your command. You may underestimate them today, but 1 year from now, when you stand steadier, more confident, more directed, you will look back and see that the most valuable investment you made was not money, nor position, nor approval. It was those 10 quiet minutes in which you decided who you would be before the day began. Guard them, repeat them, obey them, and the life you were meant to live will cease to be distant. It will become daily reality, built not in bursts of excitement, but in mornings of command. There are men who will listen to these words and admire the idea. They will say, yes, that is wise. They will even attempt the practice for a morning or two. But admiration is not transformation. Interest is not obedience. The value of these 10 minutes will never reveal itself to the curious. It will reveal itself only to the committed. You must understand something with great clarity. The morning does not need you. Time will move whether you command it or neglect it. The sun will rise with equal indifference over the disciplined man and the drifter. The difference will not be in the light of day. It will be in the direction of the man. For years, perhaps decades, you may have risen in reaction. You opened your eyes and immediately entered yesterday's unfinished concerns. You rehearsed regret. You anticipated inconvenience. You allowed memory and fear to script the opening act of the day. And because the beginning was surrendered, the remainder followed its pattern. A surrendered beginning produces a surrendered afternoon. A surrendered afternoon produces a compromised evening. A compromised evening produces restless sleep, and restless sleep produces another surrendered morning. Thus drift hardens. You may not have noticed when it began. Few men do. It begins quietly. It is not dramatic failure. It is not public collapse. It is simply the absence of command. The habit of reaction seems harmless at first, but reaction, repeated daily, becomes identity. Identity shapes conduct. Conduct produces result. Result reinforces identity. The circle closes. 10 minutes of command each morning interrupt that circle. Do not underestimate interruption. History itself has turned upon small interruptions. A single decision spoken at the right hour has altered the course of industries, governments, and fortunes. Why should your life be different? When Andrew Carnegie fixed his purpose and allied himself with disciplined men, he did not yet possess vast wealth. He possessed decision. That decision governed his mornings long before it governed his enterprises. When Henry Ford insisted upon building the motor others called impossible, he did not possess universal approval. He possessed certainty. That certainty shaped how he entered each day. Every great achievement begins invisibly. It begins in a private act of mental alignment. The world celebrates results because results are visible. But the cause of those results is often 10 quiet minutes guarded from interruption. If you give those minutes faithfully for 1 year, you will recover time previously lost. And how? Because you will eliminate wasted motion. You will eliminate days that pass without advancement. You will eliminate the confusion that requires repeated correction. A man who begins in command spends less time repairing mistakes born from haste. He spends less energy arguing with himself. He spends fewer hours wondering what to do next. Direction conserves strength. Conserved strength multiplies output. That multiplication, repeated daily, returns years to you. Let us speak plainly. If you begin tomorrow and guard these 10 minutes for 365 consecutive mornings, you will have given 60 hours to concentrated self-direction. 60 hours in which you clarified purpose, strengthened belief, reinforced identity, and selected decisive action. How many hours have you given in past years to deliberate shaping of your own mind? Be honest. Most men give their minds to the world before they have given it instruction. They allow environment to impress upon them its fears, its limitations, its urgencies. They live in response to suggestion rather than command. And then they wonder why years feel repetitive. You have now been shown how to reverse this order. You rise. You sit upright. You command your first thought. You read your chief aim with emotion. You declare your identity with conviction. You choose the one decisive act that advances your purpose. 10 minutes. Then you rise and enter the day already decided. When you enter the marketplace after such a beginning, you do not appear anxious. You do not appear scattered. You do not appear uncertain. You appear composed. Composure is rare. Rarity commands respect. Within weeks, those around you will feel something altered. They may not articulate it clearly, but they will sense that you are less easily shaken. They will notice that you speak with clarity about what you intend to accomplish. They will observe that you complete the primary task you set for yourself. Completion breeds confidence. Confidence breeds initiative. Initiative attracts opportunity. Opportunity, once attracted, rewards preparation. All of this begins before breakfast. You may say, can so small a ritual truly alter so much? Yes, because it is not the minutes themselves that hold power. It is the repetition. The law of cosmic habit force teaches that repeated acts become fixed tendencies. If you repeat reaction daily, you fix drift. If you repeat command daily, you fix direction. Direction becomes character. Character becomes destiny. Imagine yourself 5 years from now having guarded these 10 minutes every morning without fail. 5 years of commanded beginnings. 5 years of daily decisive acts. 5 years of reinforced identity. 5 years of emotionalized purpose. Would you recognize the man you would become? He would not be frantic. He would not be uncertain. He would not apologize for his ambition. He would walk with steadiness earned through discipline. Now imagine the opposite. 5 more years of surrendered mornings. 5 more years of reacting before directing. 5 more years of scattered days and uncertain evenings. The difference between those two futures lies not in luck. It lies in 10 minutes. You were not meant to wander from task to task without deliberate intention. You were not designed to allow the world to dictate your internal language before you have spoken your own. You were given the faculty of thought to direct it. Command is your birthright, but birthright unused becomes habit surrendered. These 10 minutes reclaim what has always belonged to you. They restore authorship. They prevent explanation. They build evidence. At the close of 1 year, when others speak of how quickly time passed, you will not echo them. You will have record of decisive acts completed. You will see advancement measurable and real. You will not need to boast. Your results will speak, and because they speak, others will listen. They will ask how you maintained such steadiness. They will ask how you avoided distraction. They will ask how you accomplished so much within 12 months. You may smile quietly because you will know the answer began in silence. Do not complicate this practice. Do not embellish it beyond recognition. Guard the simplicity. 2 minutes to reclaim authority. 3 minutes to impress your aim. 3 minutes to declare identity. 2 minutes to define decisive action. 10 minutes, nothing more, nothing less. Treat them as sacred, for the man who masters his morning masters his momentum. The man who masters his momentum masters his year. The man who masters his year masters his life. And when you stand at the end of a decade looking back upon the road traveled, you will not see wasted time. You will see commanded mornings. You will see deliberate progress. You will see the life you were meant to live, not granted by fortune, but built by obedience. 10 minutes, repeated, guarded, obeyed. That is how years are reclaimed. That is how destiny is directed. And that is why the most valuable investment you will ever make requires no money, no permission, no applause, only decision. Tomorrow morning, before the world speaks to you, speak first, then rise, and let the day obey. There is a difference between a man who wakes to his circumstances and a man who rises before them. The first opens his eyes and immediately measures himself against what surrounds him. The second opens his eyes and measures the day against what he has decided. This difference is invisible at sunrise. By sunset, it is unmistakable. You may believe that great fortunes are built in boardrooms, in negotiations, in long hours of labor. Those things have their place, but before any of them occur, the decisive act has already taken place. It occurred in silence, in private, when a man determined who he would be before others determined it for him. If you have ever felt as though the world moved too quickly, as though demands outran your preparation, as though days slipped away faster than your progress, then you have experienced life without morning command. It is not that you lacked effort, it is that you lacked alignment. Alignment cannot be improvised at noon. It must be established at dawn. Every day you rise without deliberate direction, you gamble with your time. You gamble that impulse will serve you. You gamble that memory will guide you correctly. You gamble that urgency will coincide with importance. It rarely does. Urgency is loud. Importance is quiet. The 10 minutes you have been shown are the bridge between the quiet and the loud. They allow you to hear what matters before noise begins. You must understand the seriousness of this. Years are not lost in dramatic collapse. They are lost in repeated mornings without instruction. A man who surrenders his mornings may still appear industrious. He may work long hours. He may attend meetings. He may respond quickly. Yet if he has not directed himself, he will feel strangely behind, no matter how busy he appears. Busyness is not advancement. Direction is advancement. When you begin each day with command, you enter activity already aligned. You do not scramble for priority. You have already chosen it. You do not hesitate in decision. You have already determined your standard. You do not waver in identity. You have already declared it. This steadiness cannot be borrowed. It must be cultivated. And cultivation occurs through repetition. The man who guards his 10 minutes does not require extraordinary motivation. He does not depend upon mood. He does not wait for inspiration to descend. He has built an internal mechanism that operates whether emotion rises or falls. That mechanism is habit. Habit is stronger than enthusiasm. Enthusiasm may ignite effort for a day. Habit sustains it for a decade. If you will form the habit of morning command, you will discover that days no longer feel accidental. Even when obstacles appear, and they will, you will not feel unprepared. You will respond with the calm of one who has already rehearsed his purpose. Calm under pressure is rare. Rare qualities command value. Imagine yourself walking into a room after having completed your decisive act before others have even chosen theirs. Imagine speaking from certainty rather than improvisation. Imagine declining distraction without apology because your morning has already defined your direction. This is not arrogance. It is preparation. Preparation removes fear. Fear dissipates when purpose is clear. The 6 ghosts of fear thrive in unguarded moments. They whisper most convincingly when the mind is idle. The 10 minutes you claim each morning deny them entrance. When fear knocks, it finds the door already closed by instruction. This alone can save 10 years of hesitation. How many opportunities have passed because you were uncertain at the moment of decision? How many conversations faltered because you had not strengthened your belief beforehand? How many days ended without completion because you never defined the essential act? The habit you now possess corrects these patterns. Do not think of these 10 minutes as optional. Think of them as the foundation upon which the remainder of your day stands. No wise builder neglects the foundation because it is unseen. He understands that what cannot be seen determines what will be seen. So it is with your morning. Others may never witness your ritual. They may never know you sit upright before sunrise and declare your identity. They may never see you reading your chief aim with emotion. They may never observe you selecting your decisive act before interruption begins, but they will see the result. They will see steadiness in your walk. They will hear conviction in your speech. They will trust your word because it has been tested privately. The world responds to such men differently. Opportunities gravitate toward those who appear prepared. Responsibility is offered to those who appear composed. Cooperation is extended to those who seem clear. Clarity begins in quiet. If you doubt this, test it. Give these 10 minutes without fail for 90 days. Guard them as you would guard a financial investment. Do not skip when you feel tired. Do not shorten when you feel hurried. Do not abandon when you feel discouraged. Complete the 10 minutes even when enthusiasm is absent. You will discover that enthusiasm follows obedience more often than obedience follows enthusiasm. And as the months pass, you will notice something remarkable. You will begin to look forward to the morning, not because it is easy, but because it is decisive. You will sense that before the world demands anything of you, you have already demanded something of yourself. That demand strengthens you. Strength invites challenge rather than avoids it. You will no longer fear the passing of time, for you will know that each day has been shaped before it unfolded, and when the year concludes, you will not stand bewildered at how quickly it vanished. You will stand with record in hand, record of decisive acts, record of aligned days, record of mornings commanded. That record is evidence. Evidence builds confidence. Confidence builds further achievement. Thus, the 10 minutes do not merely shape a day, they create a cycle of reinforcement. Morning command produces daily advancement. Daily advancement produces visible result. Visible result strengthens belief. Strength in belief makes the next morning's command more powerful. The cycle rises, and you rise with it. You were never meant to live as a reaction to circumstance. You were meant to live as a response to decision. Decision is born in silence. Silence is found in the first 10 minutes. Rise before your circumstances. Speak before they speak. Command before they command. And you will discover that the most valuable 10 minutes of your morning were not a ritual at all. They were the turning point between drifting through years and directing them.